Hello everyone and welcome to the Green Man channel. Hope you're doing good and well. So it's time for my much delayed top 10 metalcore albums of all time video. And you can check out other videos I've done like this where I've listed my top 10 albums by a particular metal subgenre such as power metal, thrash metal, progressive metal, new metal, symphonic metal. And there's a playlist stored up on the channel where you can go and check all of those lists out if you want to. If you're new to the channel as well, do drop a like and a sub. It really supports all that I do here. And if you like these kind of videos, I will be probably sharing more top 10 by subgenres as we go into 2026. And yeah, so without any further ado, I will not pretend to be a metalcore expert. I think there are a lot of metalcore albums I've missed over the years. I just have my select favourite bands really in this subgenre, and that is going to be very much reflected by this list. In fact, there are two albums from the same band on this list. A little bit like when I did my symphonic metal list, there was that same situation. I actually had two albums from the same band on that list, for those of you that remember that. But yeah, these are very much personal picks, therefore it's not necessarily the right list, it's just my list, as Sean Chandler I think would say. And so yeah, I'm just going to reveal these one by one in the usual format from number 10 up to number 1. And starting at number 10 is Bullet for My Valentine's third album, Fever, from 2010. And, you know, this is one of those albums where I have a bit of sentimental value attached to it. It reminds me a bit of a holiday I went on back in 2011. And this is one of those albums where I think I like the singles perhaps the best from this record, the likes of Your Betrayal and the title track and The Last Fight being three of my favourites from this one. And yeah, I'm not a massive Bullet fan, but I do really like this album and it has stayed with me over the years, which is why Bullet for My Valentine's Fever comes in at number 10. Next up at number 9, I'm talking about the Australian metalcore band North Lane. And Australia, I think, have a lot of metalcore bands and a lot of really good albums as well. And North Lane's Alien is my pick, which might be a surprise pick because I think when it comes to North Lane, the fan favourite is Singularity. And I'm still relatively new to North Lane actually as well. I've only really known them for a few years, but Alien does something a bit different that I really gravitate towards. And it's kind of bringing in a bit of industrial, some industrial elements to its metalcore sound. And so overall you get a different blend, a different kind of metalcore. And I really like that about this North Lane album. Love the likes of Talking Heads, Gin, and Eclipse as three favourites from this one. And I just think it is just doing something that is a little less expected and run-of-the-mill, for metalcore. And that's, I guess, why I really like this. But I know Singularity is the more popular one. Call it a bit of a North Lane dark horse if you like Alien. I think it's a really good record from 2019, I think. Next up at number 8, we've got what some people, you could also regard this as a hardcore record, really, and it did make my interview list very high at number 2 for 2024. So pretty recently, just last year, or you might be watching this in early 2026, which means you could say a couple of years ago by that point. But, this album from Not Loose, You Won't Go Before You're Supposed To, is a brilliant album, I think, and it doesn't go before it's supposed to. It just goes on for about 28 minutes, I think, and it packs some really big punches. I love the interesting percussive arrangements on this Not Loose album as well. I think that they are fantastic. And it's just a really compact, really well put together, unique, interesting metalcore / hardcore record from 2024, and that's why Not Loose, You Won't Go Before You're Supposed To comes in here at number 8. Next up at number 7, I've got Parkway Drive with Horizon, so another Australian metalcore band. This is somewhat of a metalcore classic from the 2000s that's never really left me since it came out. I've always liked Parkway Drive's Horizons. I've always enjoyed it. It is a little bit of a sentimental pick, therefore, I think, as will a few others above this be. But yeah, it's just a great album with, another one where I really like the singles on this one, I think, too. And another one with good memories associated to it. So yeah, Parkway Drive's Horizons comes in at number 7. Now, next up at number 6, we've got a popular metalcore band who are certainly metalcore. There's certainly no question mark over this band being a metalcore band or not. That is August Burns Red. And this is Found in Faraway Places, which is a 2015 record. And I also really love other 2010s albums from this band that I enjoy, like Rescue and Restore, the Phantom Anthem as well. Phantom Anthem. Favourite tracks on this one include the likes of Identity, Majoring in the Minors, An Everlasting Ending as well. And I really like the sort of the melodic guitar leads in these albums that they do, with a kind of hammer-on style finger work on the guitars. And it's just very melodic, very enjoyable. August Burns Red. And I guess with this band, I think it's Constellation. I think it's their 2009 record that's the favourite for fans with this band. But again, I'm a little different with what I love, or at least with my favourite album. I think it is Found in Faraway Places. But I also love the Phantom Anthem a lot as well. I think that's a bit of a dark horse again in their discography. But yeah, Found in Faraway Places, I think, is my choice here. And it comes in at number 6 on this top 10 albums of all time. I'm a pretty big August Burns Red fan, I think. Next up at number 5, a band again that you could say straddle between, not just metalcore, but a bit with melodic death metal and lots of other styles, I think. You can't really pigeonhole this band. It's actually Alyssa White Blues' former band before she joined Arch Enemy, The Agonist. It's their album Lullabies for the Dormant Mind, which came out back in 2009. And I think this is an absolutely fantastic album, full of all sorts of, interesting guitar work. Something I've always loved about The Agonist is actually, I think Danny Marino's guitar work is just splendid. And you've got some great songs on here, like Thank You Pain, The Martyr, The Sentient. And of course they fuse together lots of different styles here. Classical, jazz, thrash metal, a little bit of black metal influence you could argue as well, I think, on here. Production's great from Christian Donaldson, who's actually worked with the likes of Cryptopsy, and it is just a superb second album, I think, from The Agonist, one that I feel like has been a bit forgotten about over time. I don't know if it's just me and my perception of this record, but it feels like it's a little bit forgotten about over the years. So The Agonist, Lullabies to the Dormant Mind, a great album. Alyssa is brilliant on here, I think, and it is certainly a gem, a bit of a hidden gem maybe. Maybe I'm stretching the boundaries of the metalcore genre a bit here, but I've seen it labelled as metalcore, so I'm going with this. I'm going with The Agonist, Lullabies for the Dormant Mind, as my number 5 on my top 10 metalcore albums of all time. It could be an interesting one to discuss, that one, in the comments, put it that way. Next up at number 4, I've gone for Trivium's popular metalcore styled album Ascendancy, their second studio album from 2005. It preceded, of course, the album we discussed on the Dark Horse disc series, The Crusade, which came out, I think, the following year. This is, I think, is it my favourite Trivium album? Actually, I'm not totally sure it is, but it is certainly my favourite when they were sort of in this kind of metalcore era of the band. It boasts fantastic singles like Lights That Flies. My favourite actually on this one is actually the closer, Declaration. I think it's Declaration, right? Just the riffage in that track is just, mic drop stuff. It's a really just phenomenal guitar work. I do think there's just Trivium are fantastic at kind of thrashy guitar riffs, and I love the metalcore kind of style on this record as well. I think it works really well. So yeah, Ascendancy by Trivium is my number 4. Now we move to my top 3 metalcore albums of all time, and these 3 albums are genuinely ones that I can stick on any time of day and have fond memories with, and still really love to this day. And I think they all sound as fresh as they did when they came out. All 3 of these albums, all 3 of these top 3 metalcore albums for me. And number 3 is Killswitch Engage, End of Heartache, an album I go a long way back with, to its original release date. And the first time I heard Rose of Sharon, I feel like people say sometimes, this album, did it change your life? Or did this song change your life? Or this song changed my life? And honestly, with Rose of Sharon, I think it kind of did. I think it had such a massive impact on me, that song, that it was just, I felt every moment of emotion in Howard's voice. And the start of the song is just, there's no introduction, really. It just goes straight into that, that really loud, really heavy riff. with Howard's ferocious roars sounding as good as ever. I mean, the Ends of Heartache, Rose of Sharon, Ends of Heartache, the title song is a great one as well that I think they used for the Resident Evil soundtrack. You got The World Ablaze, I think it is. You've got so many just thunderous, epic metalcore songs, melodic metalcore songs on here, and Howard just elevated this one into metalcore S tier territory for me, God tier territory even. Ends of Heartache, one of the greatest albums of all time, certainly within metalcore, undisputedly. Surely that one won't be disputed in the comments. What a great record. Coming in next at number 2, we've got Architects and the Hollow Crown, which was, I think, another 2000. How many 2009 albums have I shouted out? I feel like there's been maybe just a couple. But this 2009 album is definitely one of my favourites. It actually is my favourite from Architects, so I'll be honest. It's sort of still in that mathcore era of the band when they were really quite technical. I mean, the guitar work of Tom Searle and Tim Hillier-Brooke was just exceptional, I think, here. Sam Carter sounds amazing. I think he was very young on this album, if I remember rightly. And you've just got some classics on here, like Follow the Water, One of These Days. And my personal favourite is actually the more melodic title track, which kind of, I think, was a signal of where they were taking their music at that point in time. But overall, it's a really cohesive, excellent kind of metalcore slash mathcore kind of record from Architects. An all-time classic for me, and one I've been back to many times since its release. Architects Hollow Crown is my number 2, my runner-up. But my number 1 won't be a surprise to any of you that have followed me for a while. It's very predictable, I'm sure, and it is Kill Switch again. It's Alive or Just Breathing from 2002, and I mean, this just ticks all the boxes for me with what I want to hear in a metalcore album, a kind of nice mixture of melody and those abrasive, thrashy guitar riffs. Jesse Leach sounds incredible. His voice, his screams are bone-chilling throughout this album, I think, but his cleans are also very, very good. Perhaps not quite as good as Howard's cleans, but, you know, for me, I slightly prefer Jesse's screaming. I think his screaming is so good and so potent, so piercing, with the amazing Adam Dutkovich production on this record, which is just so, you know, as it should be. You can hear every instrument so clearly. It's just so loud. It's just so epic sounding. And Alive or Just Breathing is an all-time classic metalcore album. A favourite for me that I listed, I think, at number 10 or 11 when I actually listed my all-time favourite albums, periods, in any genre, not just metalcore. This is how much this album means to me. And I'm not that big of a metalcore fan, but Alive or Just Breathing is just way up there in my all-time favourite albums list, because I just think it is fantastic all-round, as an all-round album. That's it from me. Hope you enjoyed this top 10 metalcore albums list. I'm sure, like many of you, know metalcore way better than I do and can come up with a better list. So I'd be interested in your top 10 metalcore albums in the comments. Otherwise, for me, hope you enjoyed the list, and do like and sub if you're new to the channel. It really supports all I do here. But otherwise, I'm sure you've heard enough from me now. And have great New Year's, because of course the time this is being published is the 30th of December. So hope you have great New Year's. Otherwise, from me, until next time, bye for now.